Welcome back to High Tech Farmer. We've had a week's worth of weather of clouds and rain, which aren't great conditions to combine soybeans in since the soybeans start to pick up moisture. So we haven't done any combining for a week straight. But now we're out here, we got the combine out, the grain cart, the truck parked behind me, and we're gonna see if these soybeans will make moisture and if we can start combining today. Although we only did 1.6 acres last week, we want to make sure that none of these sickle sections got broke on a big rock, so just go up and down the header and check to make sure all these look right. We double checked the sickle section, everything looked good on the head, and here we are combining the first beans that are entering the tank. This is going to be our first full day of harvest. It's exciting to see everything run, but also nerve-wracking because we made a lot of changes this year, not so much on the combine outside of just being a new head, but since we only run this stuff once a year, normally for a month to 2 weeks, it just takes a little bit getting used to and getting back into the groove of things. But we're combining beans. For using the settings on the combine that I ended with last year on soybeans, the grain samples looking relatively clean. The soybeans are testing right around 14%. Made a half a round. So far the grain sample here behind me is looking good. The beans are shelling out of the pods really nice, and I'm not getting a lot of pods or stems into the grain tank. Yield is exceptionally better than what I expected, given that we had minimal rain in August. And moisture wise, we're at 14-15%, which since these beans are gonna go at the bottom of the bin, they should be fine once we kick the fans on to dry these soybeans out. It's kind of mesmerizing watching the beans enter the draper head and then the throw to the combine. No hands needed here for High Tech Farmer because I'm using the same GPS lines that I had on the planter. So the combine, as you can see here, it's gonna follow that same white line and steer itself. Normally we fill the grain cart at the same time that we're running the bean head just for efficiency's sake. But this farm, we put in a bunch of tile, so it's pretty rough with the combine, and we don't want that auger to smack into the grain cart. So just to be safe, we're just gonna unload all of the beans at the end onto the cart, and then from there they'll go onto the semi. I've made a couple of rounds, got my protege in here. Dad, I'm teaching him how to run the combine and the bean head before I run up with the truck when we got a full load and get things started in the yard. You got any questions?
No, just hope the sun comes out and the wind blows, we'll be able to go late tonight again. So talking some rain next week. Everybody's pushing hard.
Yeah, so you'll take over for the combine for me for this afternoon, and I'll go in the yard with the first load of soybeans, get that into the bin, and hopefully things go smooth back in the yard. You feel comfortable taking it over then?
I think it'll be fine.
All right, I'll make you got questions. All right, I got the soybeans loaded onto the grain cart. My truck's right there waiting for me. But first, Mom's got to load up the soybeans onto the cart. So let's head over here and see how she does on her first load for the year.
Never really know what's good.
There's the first load of soybeans on the truck. Again, looking at the grain sample, it looks really good up here. They're gonna keep going out in the field. We're gonna run this up to the yard. Made it back to the yard with the first load of soybeans. Got the leg started. Now just gonna have to empty the traps on the semi and start the unload augers into the leg. I am slightly nervous to see how this works. I shouldn't say it because I'll probably jinx myself, but hopefully this goes well because we made a ton of changes here at the bend site this summer with switching these two bends around, and then a bunch of electrical differences and switch boxes that we got switched. So hopefully this seed or these beans go into the right bin, but there's no way to know for sure that everything's gonna work unless we try. I figured I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I only ran 20 bushels into the pit. That way I can check to make sure that runs into the bin before I empty out the whole semi. So now I'm walking over to our 60,000 bushel bean bin, and we'll look inside to see if the beans are indeed filling the bin. There you go. It's tough to see, but the beans are starting to hit the floor inside the bin to create a little pile. So it looks like out of the 18 million different things that can go wrong from the beans emptying over there, up the leg, into this bin. Not a single one of them have gone wrong yet. So that is a good thing to see. Got the first load unloaded out of the semi. The beans are still filling into the grain pit and up the leg and over to the bean bin. The thought is that the pit and the augers themselves will shut themselves off once the grain is empty. So in order for me to test that, I figured I'll head back to the field, and if I come back with the second load and the augers are still running, something ain't working right in the yard. But I gotta be back out in the field, so I'm gonna take this truck out there and grab another load.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out.
Looks like the pits did clean out. Here's the back one and then the front one. They both got cleaned out, which means to me, I didn't jinx myself for everything working here at the bench site. So now everything's working good here, so I trust it. Now that I got that load unloaded at the farm, my brother came home. He lives up in Brookings. He's gonna take over this semi. In the meantime, I'm just gonna make one round with him out to the field, help him get loaded, and show him some of those new improvements we made to the bench site. And I'll grab that other semi and start hauling some beans to town to fill our contract for the soybeans that we gotta haul in by the end of October. Now we made it back to the yard, so I'm handing over the ropes or the remote control to the leg to my brother. That way he can start the leg. So the leg's running, unload the back one, and I'm gonna go get the other truck out to start hauling some beans to the bean plant. Made it back to the field, things are still chugging along. Got half of the field done, so 80 acres out. Looks like we're gonna have a beautiful sunset here tonight, so I'm gonna send the drone up and get some drone shots for you guys.
Secret star in your heart is slow. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never showed. There are the things I want to know.
For perspective of why my brother's hauling and I'm hauling at the same time, just drained soybeans, I'm hauling these to the bean plant, and look, there's gotta be 30 trucks in line here, which means I got a 2-hour wait before I'll ever be able to unload these up in the plant. Here's the pile that my beans in the semi right here are gonna get dumped onto at the crush plant before they get turned into oil. Obviously, they make this pile just because there's so many beans coming in here at harvest, and then once harvest is over, we'll start picking up these piles and throwing them in the bin. That way they have enough supply of soybeans to get them over to the next harvest. Beans got unloaded out of the truck, and they even had a free grab bag for supper full of water, some chips, and an apple and a cutie. So grab the ticket, see what the moisture was on these beans, 12.5%, and we'll bring this truck back to the yard. I've gotten a lot done out here since I was last here. Here's the end of the field that we got, and if I were guessing, they have 30 acres left to go back towards the north. It's gonna get too late to head over to another field, so we'll just bring everything home for tonight and then be out back at it first thing in the morning. We finished this 160 acres. As you can tell, it's perfectly dark out. Some of the lightning and thunder going off in the background, but we got the field done. That's what matters. So we'll bring everything home, get everything ready for the next field that we gotta do. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks so much everyone for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one. Here's some bonus footage of what it's like being the youngest person on the farm, getting told you gotta bring home the bean head in the tractor with no cab in the middle of a severe thunderstorm warning, and this tractor has no more than flashlights for headlights.